Shalom, everybody. Today we're going to be learning an article from Rabbi Abraham Mordechai Gottlieb, who I'll be referring to, of course, as the Rebbe Shlita. It is called Love. Tov. Love. The definition. A very strong feeling of liking and caring for somebody or something, especially a member of your family or a friend. To expand explanation, the Rebbe Shlita says a positive feeling towards another awakens upon viewing beauty in the other, inside and outside, virtues and positive traits, values and perfection. The aspiration of the person arises, and he desires to be close to the other. If it's not a connected person, an Adam Mitukan, they want to take over and exploit the other. If the person is corrected, Mitukan in Hebrew, he wants to connect to the other and serve him, do for him, to cause him pleasure and peace of mind. With that said, we see here the value of seeing the greatness and importance of the other, as we'll learn more about as we continue. The essence and nature of love. True love is not dependent on exterior factors, but on the godly soul, the nefesh elokit, that is within everyone. When a person focuses on the other's godly soul, as it is utterly perfect, whole, and good, then he connects to it emotionally. Moreover, spirituality does not split into parts, and each godly soul is a piece of the great one whole. The Creator is one, so the spiritual world is one. Each soul is said to be a chelek Elokai mimah, from a heavenly portion on high, a piece off the old block, so to speak. At the same time, spiritually doesn't divide. We connect to the notion that we are all different parts of one big soul. At the same time, the honor and greatness of each individual soul is relative to the entire picture. We can't comprehend the greatness of the essence of each individual soul, because the part within it includes the whole, which is why every person is of extreme greatness and importance. To continue, this results in one loving himself, because all human beings are part of one godly entity, like a puzzle. The divisions that exist between us are the traits of wanting to receive benefit and pleasure for ourselves alone, our ego. But the souls themselves are pieces of the whole. They are all parts of one. Similar to one loving his body parts, as they form his body, so does one have no barrier in loving the other, because we're all connected and amount to the whole. Being that if we connect to the notion that we're all interconnected as one soul, the same way I am a body part or an organ in the global soul, so too, because I love myself and I love all parts of myself, in theory I would also love all parts of myself being the global soul. So if I connect to the inner essence of the other individual, being their godly soul, then as written here, I connect to it emotionally. Can see the greatness of it. As the Rebbe Shlita says, and the more one concentrates on this, the greater the awareness will be that we're all brothers and sisters from the same blood. I don't believe the Rebbe Shlita means here literal blood, rather spiritual. Not getting into historical facts about humanity's interconnectedness of literally being family. We're talking here about the notion that because we're all spiritually from the same root, we're all children, sons and daughters of the King of all kings. So we are all of the same blood, so to speak. Though we may react to one another in aggression, hatred, and force, we should not believe these traits to be real at face value, but rather believe the truth of our inner essence, the soul, being that we should identify with the objective nature of our inner being, which is the soul, and we should do our best to identify the other as being a soul, which means the outward actions, their seeming aggression and hatred and the like, are expressions of a myriad of variables that has nothing to do with the perfect, amazing, pure soul. Rather, those actions and that hate that might be expressed are just coverings on top of the soul and has nothing to do with the essence itself. And it's hard work to imagine in the moment if such a situation came upon us, where someone is berating us, challenging us with hate and aggression, and for us to focus on the good within them and remind ourselves of the godly soul within them. But that's part of the work. And that helps draw positive energy and abundance into the system, into the world, in contrast to the opposite. Based on that, we need to build true spiritual communication between us. Meaning to say communication between souls. If one consciousness is connecting to another and is acknowledging the greatness of the soul on the other end, then spiritual communication is manifest in contrast to just two people speaking. It becomes elevated and special and can bring great positivity into their own lives, surely, whether it's between family or friends, and also to the world, because we're all interconnected. When one part is elevated, the entire puzzle is, because the part is a piece of the whole. So the whole is affected by the part's elevation as well. So too, the dissension. That's why it's so important for us to focus on the good in the other, despite the challenge. So we ask the question, can love be nurtured? Can love be grown? Definitely. The Torah commands us to love one another, the godly portion of the other, as written, quote, you should love your neighbor as yourself. V'yahavta l'recha kamocha. And, quote, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. ArtScroll translates it as resources, which is why when we read the Shema, in the paragraph after the first one, we already read with all your heart and with all your soul. And now it does not have the resources, meaning the person has already advanced to the point where they are bereft of resources. They've used all the resources in order to serve the Creator as best as they can. There is books upon books of beautiful teachings of expansive depth and caliber in regards to these two psukim alone, these two verses in the Torah. But let's stick with that for now. How can this be done? How can love be nurtured and grown?